This segment sponsored by Viking Psychiatry. Welcome back to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Viking Psychiatry, and I am joined by their owner, Sean Goddard. Hi, Sean.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that I feel a lot of people experience, which is stress, right? Things are stressful in life. People have anxiety. These are things that are normal, but when it gets to a point of being chronic, it can really start to impact the mental health. How so?
You know, chronic stress, how can we not be stressed nowadays with the way that life is, the go, 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 all the pressure, the stress, the social media, right? It's very hard to turn anything off nowadays. And so, you know, when we have chronic stress, it ends up affecting us in a lot of ways. It can lead to anxiety, depression, chronic stress levels, which can increase cortisol, and cortisol is our stress hormone, right? Also think of inflammation. And so when people think about stress, they really often don't think about how much it affects their body.
Right.
And so if we think of cortisol as being a stress hormone and inflammation, sometimes I tell people to think about having like a wound or an itchy red bump on their skin, right? We've got inflammation there going on, right? And it's bugging us. And what do? We keep going in and we scratching it, and it's annoying us and bothering us, right? And so that's a very evident inflammation and stress for you right there. But that happens to our whole body when we're being stressed, right? And maybe we don't notice as much because, of course, we're not walking around itching ourselves because we're stressed, right? But there is this inflammation. There is this constant underlying strain on the body that's occurring, and that ends up having a serious effect on you, on how you're feeling, your energy levels, your mental health. All of that really comes together.
You're saying like it's an agitator, like it's something that is just really throwing salt on a wound, which you don't want to do. And so so that's on the mental side of things and how chronic stress can affect us, but does it affect us physically as well?
Absolutely. You know, when you have chronic stress, it puts you at higher risk for cardiac issues, high blood pressure, diabetes. There are a lot of health conditions that come with that. When we talk about the gut, though, you know, if you look at something like when I was younger, I was diagnosed, when I was in the military, I was diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And there's all these medications that they tried to throw at it, and none of these medications made anything better for me. They seem to make things worse more often than not. And so what I ended up finding out was the real treatment for that IBS was resolving the stress that I was in, right? Because stress is that chronic inflammation. IBS is inflammation in the gut. And when we have that inflammation, it allows toxins to leak into the system, out into the system, and it also causes change in the bowel habits. A lot of our serotonin, majority of our serotonin is produced in the gut, right? So there's a lot of tie-in there. And so when people are saying, I don't understand why, you know, I can't use the bathroom, it's been 5 days. Well, there's a good chance besides bowel issues that stress can be involved in that. And to make that better, we have to also improve our overall mental health and stress level.
Yeah, and as people are probably thinking like, okay, well, how do I know that this is something that is impacting me? How do I know that chronic stress is not only playing a part in the physical, like you said, but in the mental? What are signs that they can actually see that's kind of tangible to say, you know what, this is a problem for me?
Yeah, so gut changes, like I was talking about, changes in bowel habits, you know, either whether it's constipation, diarrhea, changes in appetite, headaches is a big one for a lot of people. Some people have tremors, trouble sleeping, fatigue, exhaustion. There's really a lot that's going on there, and sometimes it's hard to narrow down what it is, right? Well, how do I know it's not my job? Or how do I know it's not because I didn't have my cup of coffee today that I have a headache? Or, right, there's so many things that's going on, and that's why sometimes it can be beneficial that when people, if they're feeling overwhelmed, feeling a lot of these health issues going on, and maybe having trouble putting their finger on the pulse of what's going on, we're coming in and seeing somebody for some help can be very beneficial.
Yeah, because it's so funny. What I love about symptoms is that the same ones fall on many lists. So it's like, how do I know that this is what's wrong? But I feel like stress is something that you kind of feel on your heart, right? It's that heaviness that sits there where sometimes it's like short of breathing and you just can't fully imagine yourself getting through whatever it is that you're trying to work on or process. And so it is a very heavy thing. And so as people are trying to live each day, you know, you got to keep going. That's the biggest thing. I always say you got to keep going no matter if stress or anxiety is weighing you down. What are tips that you have so that people can manage their stress better?
Yeah, I think number one, it's, you know, you talked about how you binge on a mystery show, and really psychiatry, a lot of times it is a mystery. It is doing detective because there is so much crossover in so many things.
Yeah.
You know, there's symptoms of anxiety that also fall into depression and into ADHD, into PTSD, and right, and there's so much overlap that you can't just assume. You really have to dig in and try to see what's going on. And sometimes there's multiple things going on. And so getting somebody to help you get to the root of that and understanding what's going on is important. But then there's things that you can do naturally, because some people, you talk about that heaviness, right? And that is how stress really might present for you. But other people, it might present as irritability, right? That's how their body expresses it.
Right.
And so you have to find a way to be able to release that pressure, right? Because if you keep blowing up the balloon, eventually it pops, right? And so we have to let some air out. And so you can do that through exercising, relaxation, meditation, breathing exercises, journaling, you know, and hobbies can be a great thing, right? Whatever that may be that provides you some relief, getting out and hiking in nature, right? Going rowing, going hiking, all those types of things. We don't make time for those types of things a lot nowadays. And it's very important that we do. It's very important that we let some of the air out of the balloon.
Yeah, just find what brings you joy, right? Whether it's like hopping in the kitchen, cooking, you know, just kind of relaxing. I think self-care is something we've talked about before,
Yeah,
how people
absolutely.
don't do it enough. But it's like you have to carve out time for you. And in this busy world, you just got to do it. It's just as simple as that.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And if you would like more information about Viking Psychiatry, we'll have their website listed below. They do have multiple locations, so you can see which location works best for you. Have the conversation with them and get started today. And I'll see you after the break.
This segment sponsored by Viking Psychiatry.